No, probably.
Yeah.
Good evening. The Secretary General and the High Representative Vice President of the Commission will start by making short statements, and then they'll be happy to take your questions. Secretary General.
Good evening. We have just finished a meeting with the NATO Foreign Ministers, where we were joined by High Representative Vice President Federica Mogherini, and also the Foreign Ministers of Sweden and Finland. And I would start by thanking Federica for being together with us, for joining us, and to address an issue which is of great importance both for NATO and for the European Union. And that is European defense and the cooperation between NATO and the European Union. And I would also like to thank you, Federica, for your strong personal commitment, for the hard work you have been putting into this over a long period of time, which has resulted in real progress. This is important for both EU and NATO, because we know that 90%, or actually more than 90% of the people in the European Union, they are citizens of a NATO country. We face the same security environment, we face the same challenges, and therefore we have to respond together based on our common values. And back in July 2016, I signed a joint declaration with the Presidents Juncker and Tusk. And after that, Federica and I, we followed up with 42 concrete measures, and we have been working on the implementation of these measures since then. And we have really made progress. For instance, on countering hybrid threats, Federica and I inaugurated a Center of Excellence in Helsinki a few weeks ago. On cyber, NATO and the European Union can now exchange warnings about cyber attacks and malware in real time. And just last week, the European Union participated in NATO's cyber coalition exercise, one of the biggest in the world. Yet another example of how we are strengthening our concrete cooperation. In the maritime domain, NATO's maritime operation Sea Guardian provides critical support to the EU operation Sophia. And there are many other examples, but now, tonight, we agreed on additional measures. So the task for Federica and me, for our staffs, for the European Union and for NATO, is to make sure that we are fully implementing those measures. And let me just mention three new areas where we have agreed to strengthen our cooperation. First, moving our forces and equipment quickly is vital for our security. This means we need procedures for rapid border crossing, as well as sufficient transport assets and robust infrastructure, meaning roads, railways, ports, and airports. So it's obvious that this is an area where we need strong and very detailed and concrete cooperation between NATO and the European Union when it comes to military mobility. And our aim is to make military mobility a new flagship for the NATO-EU cooperation. Second, in the fight against terrorism, we decided to strengthen the exchange of information between us and to coordinate our counter-terrorism support for partner countries. And third, we will do more together to promote women's role in peace and security in our own organizations and in our military operations. It is not just the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do. So we are taking cooperation between NATO and the EU to a new level. This is more important than ever as the EU looks to strengthen European defense through a permanent structured cooperation and the European Defence Fund. These steps can lead to increased defense spending, more modern capabilities, and fairer transatlantic burden sharing. To ensure these efforts complement what NATO does, we must keep in mind some key principles. EU and NATO capability development must be coherent, because we cannot present conflicting requirements and priorities to our nations. Forces and capabilities must be available for both EU and NATO, and non-EU allies need to be involved to the fullest possible extent, because they play an important role in European security. NATO has ensured European peace and security for almost 70 years and remains the cornerstone for our collective defense. At the same time, we are determined to further strengthen our cooperation with the European Union. So for me, it's really a great pleasure to once again meet with Federica to discuss and to agree and decide on how we take this cooperation further, and then to know that we will work together, also making sure that we are implementing those measures. So welcome again, and please have the floor.
Thank you very much, Jens. I feel quite at home by now. I remember that 1 year and something ago we were standing on the same stage presenting this ambitious plan to bring EU-NATO cooperation to a level that our two organizations have never experienced before. And everybody was a bit skeptical because this was probably the intention many times, but was never really reached as an objective. And I'm proud, I have to say, that thanks to the hard and dedicated work of our teams, your personal leadership and dedication to that, and the strong political will of our member states and allies, we managed to implement a large number of those 42 measures we decided to put in place last year. So today, together, we presented our second progress report on the 42 measures we decided last year to implement together. And you mentioned the key elements of them, not exclusive, but probably the most important and visible. The common work we have done to establish the Helsinki European Centre of Excellence for Countering Hybrid Threats that we inaugurated together. The coordination and cooperation at tactical and operational level between Operation Sophia in the Mediterranean Sea and Operation Sea Guardian of NATO, and the first ever parallel and coordinated exercise we had between the European Union and NATO. And these are only three flagship examples of how we put things in place in this year of work, of hard work. But I have to say that today we have not only together presented the second progress report of our common action, but we've also proposed to our both our councils, EU Council and NATO Council, the new set of proposals for further steps of practical cooperation in a process that is indeed parallel. Today, both councils adopted endorsed this new set of proposals of 34 new actions that will deepen our cooperation in the areas that we already defined in Warsaw at the summit last year, meaning countering hybrid threats, operational cooperation, cyber defense, defense capabilities, defense industry, exercises, capacity building of partners, and also strengthening the dialogue at all levels between EU and NATO. But we also decided to add to this already established priorities or fields of common action, the new fields of action, further priorities we have agreed upon and that you just mentioned, that are key priorities for the European Union as well as for NATO. Counterterrorism, military mobility, which is a field where the European Union has tools that can help overcoming obstacles that NATO has been facing in the past, and women, peace and security. That is a key element for building security in the world, and we see it on a daily basis. I was particularly proud and glad to have this opportunity once again to not only discuss with the NATO allies ministers, but also to update them and you, Jens, on the progress that the European Union work on European Union defense and security is achieving. You know, it's quite historic times for EU defense and security. We are establishing the permanent structure cooperation. 23 member states signed the notification of their participation. They handed it over to me a couple of weeks ago. Jens was there with us in the same day. And a formal decision to launch the permanent structure cooperation is expected, I expect it, to be adopted on Monday next week at the Foreign Affairs Council I will chair. But work is still ongoing, so I cannot prejudge the results of the work member states are doing, but I would expect that this can be finalized by Monday, together with a formal decision, also a decision on projects that would go together with the formal decision of launching the permanent structured cooperation. And as Jens said, and as Jens has always believed, and I would like to thank you for the support, a strengthened European Union in the field of defense and security will also strengthen NATO, because it's about reducing fragmentation on the European side, making better use of economies of scale, and increasing efficiency of output of European defense. So it is also in NATO's interest that this process has got to such a level of unprecedented and quite historic development. As Jens mentioned, this is not the only part of the defense package the European Union has been putting in place in this last year. We also have the European Defense Fund that will support research and capability projects of European Union member states in a cooperative manner. This, again, will be beneficial also to NATO, because member states of the European Union have one set of forces that can be used also for NATO or UN operations, and obviously for those that are members of allies in NATO. And also we've launched a coordinated annual review on defense that helps us coordinating the budgets in this field. So to conclude, I'm extremely proud and satisfied because we managed today to say, 1 year after we basically launched this process, we managed at the same time to put in place the European Union of Security and Defense, fulfilling the full potential of the Lisbon Treaty that was never really implemented in this field, and at the same time strengthening the EU-NATO cooperation to a level that was never experienced before, showing that the two things are not only possible to go together, but complementary in real terms. And this is thanks to an excellent cooperation we have established, and I would like to stress once again the very competent, dedicated work that our both staff have been doing. This is also the solid basis for the continuation of the norm of having EU-NATO cooperation working on a daily basis on many different fields. So thank you, Jens.